Hello, everybody. That was a loud beep that came through my headset for some reason. Hello, everybody, again, and welcome to a bit of an odd video. I don't normally do this type of video, but I've been thinking over the past couple of years when I watch things like the Oscars and I hear the nominations and I hear the winners, and I just think that I don't agree with half of the choices made. Now, granted, a lot of the movies that they pick are movies I have not seen, but I feel like a lot of movies get overlooked, in my personal opinion, and a lot of movies that I absolutely love get overlooked. So today, we are going to be going through my top 10, which in reality, I'll mention specifically 11 of them because one of them I just wanted to, sorry, hit my mic. I wanted to throw in there because I really do like the movie and I realized I really liked it at the last second and I wanted to put it in there. Now, be aware, I have not seen quite a few movies that probably would be on people's nomination lists. I will mention, we're going to start with my honorable mentions, and that's going to be a bunch of ones that are small, quick mentions, get to two specifically honorable mentions that I want to mention, which are probably going to be on people's top 10 or 11. And yeah, so we're going to start with honorable mentions. And also be aware, I'm only doing things that were in theaters and things that I have seen. I have not seen Everything Everywhere All at Once. I do own it. I did buy it when it was on sale around Black Friday for about $10 on 4K. I have not had time to sit down and watch it. I work 5 days a week. I do YouTube. I'm very busy and I just didn't have time to watch it. It's a lot easier to go out to a theater to watch it, especially when my job is at one. So it makes that a lot easier than when I'm home, because when I'm home, I'm doing YouTube or I'm sleeping most of the time, unfortunately. But either way, we're going to start with some honorable mentions. So starting off with two in particular, which did not go to theaters at all, at least not massively. They had premieres in a theater, of course, but unfortunately these two did not make the list because I wanted to keep it to theater releases only, due to the fact that I feel like streaming movies are more watched, especially things on Disney+. So I unfortunately don't want to include them in, due to the fact that more people have probably seen them. There are probably a lot of movies in theaters. Now, to be fair, a lot of the ones I have mentioned probably have been seen by people in theaters. A lot of them probably have, especially my top couple. But anyway, the first two are going to be Turning Red. I absolutely love Turning Red. I really wish that released in theaters. That would have definitely been in my top 10 if it had released in theaters. But unfortunately, due to Disney pulling it from theatrical release and instead later down the line releasing Lightyear, which is a terrible movie, mainly due to how they choose to use Zurg. I do not like what their choice, what they did with Zurg in that movie was. I won't spoil it in case anyone does like it. Remember, these are my opinions. Please do not be upset. If I don't mention a movie you liked, by the way, feel free to leave me a message in the comments. I will tell you if I've seen it, or if I plan to see it, if I liked it, or if I did not like it, if I do not mention the movies here. But Turning Red, absolutely loved it. Great story for kids. Love the animation. Love the story, really good, but I'm not going to go too in-depth into these, so we're going to move on to the next one, which is Chip 'n Dale Rescue Rangers. This would have definitely been high on my list just due to the number of properties that exist in there. It's kind of like a spiritual sequel to Who Framed Roger Rabbit, with the number of crossover and stuff. I mean, they had, was it Randy from South Park in there? And if that's his name, I think it's his name. But a lot of characters that probably should not be in a Disney film, plus they're not owned by Disney. Very, very impressive on that front. Okay, now we're going to go kind of on a speed run. Black Adam, I'm one of the few that really liked Black Adam. I like the fact that it was a lot different than most of your typical superhero movies, and there's some things I liked about it. It probably would not be in my top 10, but I do want to mention it because I really did like it. And a lot of these are toward the end of the year. the beginning of the year was kind of slow. So, yeah. Also, Scream. I want to mention Scream. I really did love Scream, but these other movies kind of took the bite for me, so Scream ended up not getting in my top 10/11. I really did like that movie, though. I really enjoyed that movie, and I will watch that movie again. It's just these other movies, I, for some odd reason, like them more. I will try to describe it when we get to them. Violent Night, that's still in theaters right now. I liked the movie. I didn't love it. I liked it. It wouldn't be in my top 10, but it's definitely worth mentioning. David Harbour does a great job, and it's a fun R-rated adventure. Not for the kids. I have seen people bring their kids, but it's definitely not for the kids. But there's a cool Home Alone section type deal, which really feels like what Home Alone would have actually been if you had nails and other things involved, including a bowling ball hitting somebody into a nail. So, if you're interested in seeing that, you can watch that. Smile. I did not like this movie as much as a lot of people did. It would not be in my top 10 either, but it's worth mentioning because the movie did very well in theaters. The theatrical release for this movie was insane, and on top of it, they did do the scares effectively, especially one scare involving a car and a head popping down, like knocking on the window, and then like it popping down in a way the head should not pop down, because the neck was extremely long on that thing. But definitely, if you like horror movies, it's worth a watch. But the ending is very stereotypical, and I hate how it ends, and I would not have this in my top 10. I'm going to skip over this one and do the other ones, and I'll leave one for last because I think it's going to be kind of controversial. Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. A very good movie. A whodunit slasher with a pretty big twist on the whodunit. And it has some commentary, well acted, really fun, and the whodunit aspect is amazing. It wouldn't be on the top of my top 10, but depending on if some of these movies hadn't released, it could have gotten close to there. It was fun, it was enjoyable, and it was a smaller release, and I really am glad that I had the opportunity to watch it in a theater. Hotel Transylvania Transformania or Transformed, whichever one it is. What's the title? Hotel Transylvania 4. I believe it's Transformania. Yeah, Hotel Transylvania Transformania. This released on Amazon Prime originally because they bought the rights. Adam Sandler does not play Drac, but all the other characters are played by the same people. He does a very, I think it's Andy Samberg is his name as I'm looking up here. Did a very good job with the voice, but definitely not Adam Sandler. It's a really good movie. I liked it. I like it higher than some of the other ones. Worth mentioning due to the incredible performance by Andy Samberg. When Adam Sandler, normally holds the reins, his voice was slightly off, but sorry, hold on. His voice was slightly off. I apologize. But it was still good. Next, we have a movie titled, I'll skip that one for now. The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, starring Nicolas Cage, was a very fun adventure with a random Paddington reference. There was a whole sequence about how Paddington 2 is a fantastic movie, and it's kind of weird. It's a joke in a friend group of mine, and not even that, but some people, I don't like that movie as much as some other people in the friend group do, but it is a very good movie. And I do have a review for Paddington 2 on my channel, but there's a whole joke with that, and we found it hilarious that the movie touched up on that, and the fact that it hit a joke like that pretty close to home for me is kind of amazing, because not everybody has that joke. And the fact that it really is a really good movie is also kind of funny in its own right. And not decide that, but just Nicolas Cage being in it was a really good movie with him, acting in that movie. And he really kind of stole the show in that movie. And I think my last nomination, my last honorable mention before we head to the two special ones is a movie called, well, I have two more left, sorry. A movie called Luck. It was an Apple TV Plus movie that did release in theaters, theatrically in select theaters. I actually really liked the movie. It's a bit biased, but I really enjoy the movie. The first, 2-3 minutes are weird, but it probably would not be in my top 10, but on top of it, I really do like the movie. I enjoy it a lot, and top 10s I feel should be about movies you enjoy, and of course, due to technical reasons and certain things like that, which actually, hold on, before we lead into the two, most of the two that I chose are more technical for the two specific honorable mentions that I would put at 9 and 10. But the very last one I would like to point out is one that I know a lot of people very much disliked. And I want to spend a little more time on this one. It is Halloween Ends. I know a lot of people hate Halloween Ends. I actually really respect Halloween Ends. If you did not know, the original goal of the Halloween franchise was to have a different movie, a different story each movie, and Michael was not meant to be in them. That's why Halloween 3 Season of the Witch is the way it is because that was the plan. The director agreed to make a second Michael Myers film as long as the third one they would pick up where they left off with their original plan, and it did not do well, so they went back to Michael Myers, and that's because people fell in love with Michael Myers. And the third movie is a cult classic nowadays, I'd say, but back when it released, people didn't like it. And due to the previous movie, Halloween Kills, where they did have a sequence in a merry-go-round, merry-go-round? I think it's a merry-go-round. It's a little, at a playground, where they had masks on 3 deceased people. There you go. Those masks are from Season of the Witch, and then in Halloween Ends, the credits font is the same credits font, or font in general, used in Halloween 3 Season of the Witch, and I think they were using that to tell audiences, hey, this movie's not going to be what you thought it was. And I know why a lot of people didn't like it. Slight spoiler alert incoming, skip maybe a minute. I'll try to put a time slot on here, but I'm releasing a video today, tomorrow, and the 1st, because of how it aligned. I'm releasing, originally it would have been on the 29th if I hadn't waited another day, but I'm releasing 3 videos in a row, and one of them is this, so I have to hurry up and get it edited and put up for one of these days. I'll probably do the 1st on the new year. But anyway, so I know that, slight spoiler alert incoming, I know that people really didn't like the fact that it was not focused on Michael fully and it was focused on Corey most of the movie. But I really like that. I respect that they chose to go that route, because movies typically don't do that. Movies typically go so far under the we are doing it for the fans that a lot of the time it goes overboard and it doesn't become for the fans, it becomes for the money. And they took such a huge risk, even though I still would have preferred having one that really focused on Michael for his conclusion. I really respect what they chose to do. And as a movie in its own right, not connected to the other 2 Halloween movies, I really do like the movie. I think it has some interesting ideas. There's some sequences. So this would only make it in the top 10, not due to the story. I mean, kind of due to the story itself, but the guts that the team took with this film. Because it did very well for the first couple weeks, 2 weeks, and then it just fell off the face of the earth because people did not like it. But either way, I do highly respect it, and I hope that they continue the franchise. I think that they're going to continue it with a different story each movie, like they originally planned to do. I don't know if they'll go that far, but Corey could come back, or they could just be telling you, hey, you'll have a new person each movie. Or evil can be anything. It doesn't have to be Michael. And I think that's what they're trying to say and trying to get that in. And of course, it did not go over well because people like Michael too much. But yeah, there you go. And 3,000 Years of Longing as well, I want to mention. Idris Elba, really good movie. Slow movie, really good movie. And then I'm adding these on last second. And then Black Light with Liam Neeson was just a very fun action film. Those Those last two are wouldn't be my top 10, but I did consider them, so it's there. So the two special honorary mentions would fit at spot 9 and 10 on my list officially. And they would be the following two movies, Avatar 2 and Top Gun Maverick. And I feel like Top Gun Maverick is going to be a very big yell at me moment for a lot of people, and saying that you put that as special honorary mentions for 9 and 10. And yes, I'll get to Avatar 2, but I'll start with Top Gun Maverick. I actually had both of these on my list originally, and then I decided to remove them. Top Gun Maverick is a good movie. I don't love it due to its story. I'm not a huge plane guy, and I knew that going in, and I was worried that I wasn't going to like it, and I ended up loving it. But with the story, it's like every other plane action film that I've seen, which to be fair is not a lot since I don't like it. But what really blows me away is that all the plane sequences in that film are practically filmed, not CGI. They had people in planes, except for maybe the scenes that show their faces in a cockpit. But they were real pilots flying real planes for most of those, I think for all of those action sequences. It's very impressive, and it's revolutionary in that front. And I highly respect it, and that's why I love that movie. And I want it on 4K. I want it. But all these other movies on this list for me are above it. And please remember that these are my personal opinions. And I'll get to explaining some of them, all of them, as we go forward. But just keep that in mind. Now, Top Gun is by no means a bad movie, but it's not in my top 10. I enjoyed it a lot, and as I've said with several of these movies, I enjoy them a lot, but you can't have all of them in your top 10. And Top Gun Maverick is not in my top 10. And Avatar 2 as well, I disliked the story in Avatar 2 a lot. I felt it was reused, recycled from the first film in a lot of ways, and some of the plot points were really rushed, especially at the end of the first act. And a lot of the things the first film did kind of undone by the second film, and I did not like it. The CGI effects in this movie and the scenery, oh my goodness, it's gorgeous, it's beautiful, it's amazing. That is where this movie shines for me. Now, the only other problem I have is I watched this movie in a normal theater. 3D high frame rate in a theater that is capable of doing 3D high frame rate. And the projector that it's on, I think, is a bit old. You could definitely tell the high frame rate changing, which is okay. But on top of that, you have IMAX and Dolby Cinema, where Dolby Cinema, unfortunately, I have not seen it in, but I saw it in IMAX, and it blew me away. The second act is the worst part of the movie for me, except for the whale, which if you've seen it, you know which storyline I'm talking about, in the whale storyline, that I really liked. A lot of the second act I felt like could have been removed, and I would have enjoyed the movie just as much, if not more. Watching it in IMAX, though, those middle sequences in the water, gorgeous, man, gorgeous. Made me absolutely love the middle section. And the 3D high frame rate, I couldn't even tell it was high frame rate some of the times, and the 3D looked so seamless and beautiful in IMAX, and the extended aspect ratio, so gorgeous, so beautiful. And I really, really do mean that. But when I have to tell you and say you need to go see this in IMAX, that limits the ability and the possibility for people to go watch it, either for price range or for accessibility, because there are a lot of AMCs out there with IMAX, but there may not be one close to you. It depends. So because of that, I can't include it in my top 10, and because of the story, that me not liking it as much. Again, all these movies on this list, I feel like if you watch it in a standard theater, you will enjoy it just fine. And that's where I'm really heavily going on, is the story aspect. I mean, not the story, the theater aspect of this. And watching it at home too, I think you guys will enjoy those. And sure, you still enjoy Avatar 2 at home, but when it comes down to it, the best possible place to view it is IMAX. And because of that, it's limited in scale and limited in release for me to say I would recommend you go watch it in the theater. No, I'd recommend you go watch it in an IMAX theater or probably Dolby Cinema as well. I bet you it's amazing in Dolby Cinema. But because I have to say that, I don't feel comfortable putting it on my top 10. When you have to limit it and say you have to watch it somewhere and don't really go watch it in those other spots, I mean, it's worth the watch there, but it's not really worth me putting on a list saying, hey, yeah, only go watch it here, though, for the best experience. And I don't like to do that. So those are my 2 honorary mentions. Now, 20 minutes in, we are going to get to my list of the top, technically 11. I'm still going to say top 10 because this first one, I'm going to start at 11 and go downward. Also, please note, the first one is a kid's movie. It is number 11, but a couple of these on this list are actually going to be kids' movies, and I think kids' movies are highly underrated, and I absolutely adore them. So just keep that in mind. So number 11 is going to be DreamWorks' The Bad Guys. The Bad Guys was a very shocking surprise to me when I went and saw it. I got to see it in 3D, real 3D, and I liked it. It was very fun. It had some important friend lessons, some heartbreaking moments, and a villain reveal that I felt was well done. I figured at some point that there had to be, because the movie, and why I also really like it, and slight spoiler, not really, but slight spoiler upcoming, that I was like, there had to be a villain. Because the movie goes so long without a villain, since the bad guys are the primary focus, whether they're actually evil or not, or bad. Bad in particular is the word that they use. But because of that, I was like, I don't know if, like, are we actually going to have a bad, like, evil character in this movie, a villain? And there definitely is. And it was, the reveal and was very well done, and I still enjoy it every time. And then they had a couple more twists added on to the end, small ones, but I liked all of those. And it surprised me, I enjoyed it, and that's why it makes number 11 on this list. Okay. So number 10 to replace... I think I had Avatar 2 and 9 and Top Gun in 10. So to replace Top Gun Maverick, you have Father Stu. I just think a lot of people aren't going to agree with my list here. I am religious and I'm religious in some ways. I don't want to particularly get into that on my channel. I try to avoid that on my YouTube channel because I want this to remain a neutral zone for people to just enjoy the content that I put out. But Father Stu was a very well-made movie based off of a real person who did have a near-death experience crashing off of a motorcycle, but also was a mess beforehand and lost a brother and wanted to fell in love on first sight and wanted to follow through with that love and decided to become a Catholic due to that. And the movie is heart-wrenching in a lot of places, very well acted by Mark Wahlberg, and I really just enjoyed it. And I really feel like it had to be on this list for me. I like the PG-13 cut better, in my personal opinion, just due to the ability to tell its story better without having all the swearing, but the R-rated version is probably more true to life since it was based off of a real guy. And I know Mark Wahlberg spent some of his own money on the movie because he really cared about the story, and that always is another big factor in it for me. When an actor is so confident that they embrace it and help fund it themselves, it really does say a lot. And I don't want to overlook that when I decide my movies either, and that's why this movie makes the list. Next, in the number 9 slot, we have The Menu. The Menu is a fantastically fun movie. It's more of a thriller than horror, but The Menu is about a group. It's like a exclusive restaurant on an island that you have to pay for and plan months in advance to be able to go because it's so booked. And this main character is going with this guy to this restaurant. And they get there, and it's supposed to be, according to this guy that she's with, it's supposed to be this, like, how do I say, like, kind of like an adventure for your taste buds. You're supposed to go through the courses, and they all have a theme, and you wouldn't guess it till the end. Jeez, sorry, I keep on getting close to my mic and end up hitting it with my glasses. And some of the courses are amazing, like breadless bread. I love pointing that one out. There's another one I'd point out, but it does have a swear word in the title. I'll do a brief summary. Tyler's BS. It's an actual thing, and it's hilarious in the movie. Very, very well acted. Had so much fun watching it, and I want to get that when that comes out. I hope it releases physically 4K, because I do really enjoy it. And some of the commentary in the movie, I liked and I understood, and I really just don't think my top 10 would be not right without the menu, in my personal opinion. It is lower on the list, though. Number 8 is going to be Bullet Train with Brad Pitt. Such a fun, action-filled movie. I love the little twist in the middle with which characters you think are gonna die. Slight spoiler, I guess. But I love Tangerine and Lemon. I love Brad Pitt. I love all the characters. It's such a well-made movie. It's a very fun movie. It doesn't stop either until the end, and has a lot of big-name actors in it. And has a lot of twists and turns, and it's a lot of fun. It's highly enjoyable, and I highly recommend watching it if you can. And that's really just what it makes on this list. That's the huge action movie, I'd say, on this list for me. It just was really well made. Sony, good job. There's no other reason why it makes it on there other than it's really well made. Number 7, and this movie is currently on Netflix, but it did have a theatrical release during Thanksgiving, which is Knives Out, a Knives Out story or a Knives Out mystery, Glass Onion. I love mysteries. I do think the first Knives Out is better, but the more and more I watch Glass Onion and watch people react to Glass Onion on YouTube, the more I love the movie and the more details I notice, and the more I start to understand the story and the plot more than I saw the first time, and I keep loving it more, and it really does have lots of similar aspects to the original, and I keep noticing them more and more, and I absolutely love that movie. And I love the fact that it is so similar to the first one in a lot of ways, but also extremely different from the first one in a lot of ways. And I love a scene where there's several scenes with Benoit Blanc that are just amazing. And it's a lot of fun. I highly recommend watching it on Netflix if you can. But it did have a theatrical release, that's why it also makes this list. Next is one I think would be a pretty odd choice for a lot of people for me to put on this list, and that is Orphan First Kill. Orphan First Kill is a sequel to a movie titled Orphan from 2011, I believe, or even earlier. And it is about a girl, which I'm not going to spoil what the girl is, because you can go watch the first one or just watch Orphan First Kill to find out. It is a prequel to Orphan, but you really need to watch it from Orphan to Orphan First Kill, because the main reason this makes it on the list, other than the amazing plot twist halfway through the film and the amazing way that they incorporated it into the story, it involves how they film the movie. The actress who plays the main charactress, ooh, that's a fun word that I just made up, character in this movie, is not a kid and is not as short as a kid. And in the movie, she's playing a very short character. And you'd think that they would have just CGI'd her face onto someone else's body, but no. There are scenes where you see her from the back, but that is an actual young girl. Otherwise, either the actors and actresses on the set were wearing like shoes that made them look like tower type shoes that had like several like 10 inches on them or something, and that they'd all be higher than her so that she could just stand up and film the sequences, or she would be on her knees and like walking on her knees filming the sequences that's just like her chest up or waist up, which to me is highly impressive and highly dedicating to do for a movie. And I really enjoyed the movie. It's a very good prequel and sequel at the same time for a very, very good original film, and that's why it makes this list for me. Next, at the number 5 slot, we have The Batman. Probably what I think people would agree, other than maybe the Justice League movie that came out, that I still haven't seen, that's 4 hours long. I'd say that people probably agree that this is probably the best DC movie that came out in the last year, thus far. I do disagree a little bit. I personally think that, I don't disagree on that, really. I do think it's better than Black Adam, but I think that some of their other movies are pretty good. In the last year, there hasn't been many, so it's not hard, but I do really feel like they did a very good job with Black Adam, and I do feel like they did a very, very good job with The Batman. I've heard that watching it with an OLED screen is absolutely amazing due to the colors in this movie, and I remember watching it. I watched it twice, and I was enthralled the first time I watched it, and it didn't really feel like 3 hours. The second time, it was really late when I watched it, and both times in theaters, and I just recently got it, and I want to watch it again, but it's just a very well-made movie, very, very well acted by Robert Pattinson. Patterson? You know what I'm saying. And I really do appreciate everything done with the movie. And I love how they did the Riddler. And it's just a very well-made movie. Just a really well-made movie. And a superhero movie at that. At the number 4 slot, we're getting to our top. We're in our top 5 right now. In the number 4 slot, a movie called Dog, starring Channing Tatum. Very, very good emotional movie about a man and a dog that he is supposed to deliver to a funeral, who will then afterward, I believe, be put down because he's taking him to a funeral because he got kicked out of the army or military. I can't remember which one it was. They're all together, but there's a distinct difference between them. Actually, no, there's not. That's the Navy and the military, I think. I don't know. It's okay. My brain hurts. It's 3:48 in the morning right now. Anyways, it's very heartwarming, and there are some amazing scenes towards the end of the movie that really make you feel. And there are some. It's a really heartwarming story about a man who is injured and hurt with a dog who is also injured and hurt, emotionally mainly, and in some cases physically. But the dog's partner had passed away, and he was going to his funeral because they wanted the dog there. And it's a very well-made movie. I really, really enjoy it, and I don't think my list would be right without that movie. Okay, the top 3, my favorite top 3 movies of 2022. Starting with number 3 being The Black Phone. The Black Phone is such a good horror movie starring Ethan Hawke, and the director of both not Insidious, no. I can't remember the horror movie, but he directed Doctor Strange. And it's a reunion because the other horror movie he directed, Ethan Hawke was also in, but he didn't play an evil guy. Ethan Hawke did mention that he doesn't like playing characters like the one he played in The Black Phone because once you do, you get known for those kind of type of characters, and then you don't want to. You can't do other stuff because you're known for that. And that's a lot of things in acting that you have a hard time with, is not getting known for a certain thing like Dwayne Johnson does or Adam Sandler does, because every time you see him in a serious role, you're kind of shocked by the fact that they're in that serious role. But The Black Phone is really well paced for such a dark topic, is very hopeful, and that's how I always describe that film. And on top of it, the way that all the details of the movie collide with the final battle between the Grabber and Finney Blake is amazing. And every single time, I absolutely love it. And my top 10 would not be right without The Black Phone. Okay. 2 more left to go. Number 2 on my list is Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Sonic the Hedgehog 2 is such a great kids movie, such a great family movie at that, and for video game adaptations as well is very impressive. And just like the first one where Paramount stopped and delayed it in order to revamp the character design, this film had its own little debacle in it as well. Particularly had to do with the voice actress who played Tails, Colleen, I believe her name is. I don't remember her last name. But she played Tails in the video games, I believe, and some shows. And when she was announced, the fan base went crazy when she was announced to be the voice actress for Tails. Sorry about the yawn. But the thing that happened when the poster came out is they had Jim Carrey and the guy who played Sonic on there, or James Marsden, one of the two. But they didn't have her name on there. And the fan base got so riled up, and they spoke out about how upset they were that they actually added her name onto the poster. And not only having an actress who played the character in the video games play him in the movie is so important, but the recognition is as well. People who act in video games, typically, unless they come from Hollywood directly, they don't get a lot of recognition, especially when it comes to the adaptations. I mean, if you look at Uncharted, you had Tom Holland playing him, and the guy who played Nathan Drake had a cameo in the movie, but it's only for people who really know the character. And it's not a lot, but they don't typically respect the source material a lot of the time. And Sonic the Hedgehog 2 does that. So it makes it up here due to the fan base's love for it, how much I enjoyed it. The final battle was amazing. I wish I would have seen it in 3D if I could have seen it in 3D. Jim Carrey, possibly his last film. So many reasons why this movie is my number 2. And I absolutely adored for that. And I just loved Idris Elba as Knuckles. And I just love every detail about this movie. There is some very heavy kid aim things in this movie, though, which they kind of have to do if they want people to watch it. But either way, I still really enjoyed and appreciated this. And yeah, that's my number 2. And my number 1 movie for 2022 is one that I really hope gets nominated at the Oscars for Best Animated Feature, and is a movie that which I don't do a lot, but I've already pre-ordered on Amazon for hopefully not too long before it will release physically. And that is Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. My number 1 film for 2022 is Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. This movie I absolutely adore. Not just due to the amazing, what looked to be painted art style, and the Spider-Man, I want to say Across the Spider-Verse, but that's not it. Into the Spider-Verse type of art style, or frame rate style, where they remove some of the frames to make it seem faster, or I don't know why they did, but it looks amazing. And my favorite part is the wolf character. If you've seen the trailer, the wolf character is phenomenal. My favorite part, every time the character appeared on screen, I got goosebumps personally. He accompanies himself with a whistle, and you know he's coming, and every time he's on screen, I feel like he steals the show. And it's too little, in my opinion, but it's amazing. And personally, I don't think anything else would fit my number one spot except for this movie. And I'm so happy that it finally came out, and I absolutely love it. And I hope that everyone will try to go watch it while it's in theaters, or when it releases on streaming, watch it on streaming. So, there is my top 10. Please remember that this is my top 10, not yours. You are allowed to have differing opinions, and I ask that you either watch these, like if you've never heard of some of these, go out and watch them if you can, or if you have one that you would really prefer added onto this list, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear movies, either your top 10 or your reasons why you disagree with some of my options, peacefully of course, or why you think another movie should have been rated higher, or anything like that. I love to have conversations like that, and I would love to hear your opinions on it, as long as it's civil and in a polite manner. And last but not least, I would like to do a top 10 movie, my top 10 most anticipated movies of 2023, to give you a look at some of the movies that you may or may not realize are coming out, and give you a look and see what I'm excited for as well. Now, just so you know, this list was literally thrown together last minute. The other one had more of a in detailed thought to it, so just be aware that this may change easily after I see the movies, or when I see them, or if more promotional. Or if more promotional material comes out for these movies. At my number 10 spot, it's Knock at the Cabin, which is a movie releasing in February, early February, I believe, from M. Night Shyamalan, his next film, starring Dave Bautista and the actor who plays Ron Weasley from Harry Potter. And I am very excited with that duo alone in it, but I do like M. Night Shyamalan movies most of the time, so I am very excited to see this one in theaters. Number 9 is going to be Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. I really liked most of the Indiana Joneses. I haven't seen the fourth one in a long time, but I know people really don't like that one. And I don't think my list would be right without that movie on it. It just so happens that personally I'm more excited for a lot of other ones for various reasons, most likely because we haven't had a Indiana Jones in quite a decent while, and some of these other movies have sequels of movies that have happened last year. And I am very excited for them, or I've been waiting for some of them longer. But I am very excited for Indiana Jones and Dial of Destiny. Number 8 is going to be Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. I love the trailer for this movie. I love the first one. I am so excited to see where they go next, and I can't wait to see Spider-Man 2099 in this movie, and it's something I'm very, very excited for. Number yawn, apparently. Number 7 is going to be the Super Mario Bros. Movie. Despite some of the acting choices, I'm very excited to see Jack Black as Bowser. I'm very excited to see the movie as a whole, as I am a bit of a Mario fan, not insanely, but I played Mario Kart, I played Smash Ultimate. I'm pretty sure he's in that. I haven't played Smash Ultimate in a long, long while, but I'm pretty sure Mario's in it. I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that. But I am very excited. It's from Illumination. I like Illumination's works. So I'm very excited to see them combined. Number 6 is going to be Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. I am very excited to see this, as this is a kind of an odd movie to release in February, since it is probably going to be severely important for the future of this of the Marvel universe that it releases in February. But very excited. Can't wait to see what happens there. Number 5, we're taking a big shift to Saw 10. I really do like the Saw films, mostly as a guilty pleasure, just due to seeing the traps. It's pretty much it. The gore doesn't fully appeal, but the traps are why I'm there. And I really, really like Spiral. That would have been one of my top movies last year. And Spiral wasn't as gory, but I still really liked that film. So Saw 10 in October. As of right now, I'm very excited. Number 4 is going to be Shazam 2, which is coming out in March. March is going to be a pretty big month. I really like Shazam 1, and I cannot wait for Shazam 2. Not much else to say about that one. Number 3 is going to be Scream 6. I am very excited for Scream 6. I know I did not put Scream on my top 10, but that does not mean I am any less excited for Scream 6. I'm a bit worried it takes place in New York, but I am very excited to see what they have next and pray that Matthew Lillard's character shows up again. But it probably won't happen. Number 2, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem. TMNT is a very rough history with films. Same thing with Scooby-Doo is as the same. Very rough past when it comes to that. But I am very excited to see that an animated TMNT movie is coming to theaters in August, I believe. The only question is, Seth Rogen is a producer, which is interesting, so we'll see how that plays out. But I am very excited. Sorry. I do apologize, I'm yawning a lot here. And last but not least, and my number 1 spot for 2023, I have Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. I am a major Guardians of the Galaxy fan. I love Rocket Raccoon, and I am very worried that due to the trailer, that Rocket's time in this franchise may just be up, even though this is the last Guardians movie. I think we pretty much have it confirmed at this point that it is. I don't know if they're going to kill off all the characters then, or if they're going to leave them and have them in another movie briefly, or just kind of fade them out altogether after this movie is done. But I cannot wait to hear what soundtracks they choose. I cannot wait to see the story, even if it's sad in multiple ways, which I think it will be. I am just very excited in general to see this movie. So those are my lists for top 2022 movies and most anticipated 2023 movies. What did you guys think? Did you agree with me? Did you not? Please let me know in the comments below if you did or did not. Again, peacefully if you can. Tell me your opinions. If there's anything that I did not list that you're super excited for, please let me know. I didn't add John Wick Chapter 4, so I guess 10, honestly, Knock at the Cabin would probably be 11, and John Wick Chapter 4 would probably be 10. Since I did it for the first one, I'll do it again. But John Wick Chapter 4, I'm very excited for as well. But anyway, that's going to do it for this video, so thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye. And have a happy new year as well.